Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, and today we're going to be talking about LawBreakers. LawBreakers is a class-based first-person shooter made by Boss Key Productions, and at the head of the ship of Boss Key Productions is the former Epic Games employee Cliffy B, well known for for being a very integral part of the Gears of War series. But he's past that, he's moving on to a first-person shooter, a very, very interesting first-person shooter that I and quite a lot of people are really enjoying. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest alpha weekend, but for people that are not really, in touch with LawBreakers, I like to go and bring it back to the first alpha. The first alpha was a buggy and unbalanced mess. It was a very fun game to go and play, but there was some glaring balance issues. The first thing was movement speed on every single character was way too slow. And the second thing was health regeneration at the health stations, the ones where you walk in and you go and get your HP back. That was way too slow as well. And as a result, gameplay was slow, there wasn't enough action. It was fun when there were people fighting, but the fights weren't frequent enough. What I really like that Boss Key did is the week after they implemented another alpha weekend, and they did a lot to try to go and fix those two big issues. They increased the movement speed on basically everybody. It's still out of whack at this point. The movement speed isn't, anywhere near perfect, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And then the health regeneration, it's now basically exponential, so you don't have it tick, it's like tick, and then, after a few seconds, you're back up to 100% HP instead of waiting there for 15 seconds, and, it's basically a camped health station fest. But they're working with that, and I have to say they're taking many steps in the right direction. But let's go and talk about the latest alpha weekend, and in this alpha weekend, we're allowed to go and play on the new map called Promenade. Now, Promenade is a map that I don't think is as good as Grandview. The reason why I don't think it is as good, not saying it's a bad map, but Promenade is a map where it is more linear in the center. There is not so many routes for you to go and get around. There is one under the map route that you can go and use as assassin, and that works quite well, but in terms of basically every other class in the game, the three other classes, you've got to go straight down the center and you've just got to go in and fight people. Grandview, it's a bit more of a diversified map, but overall, I think Promenade in its current state is quite a good map, and I don't think there needs to be too much tweaking. Maybe the health stations, I don't know how to go and say it would be improved, but it seems like they're tucked away just a little bit too conveniently that you can simply run to it, get all your HP back, and somebody that's chasing you, you would already be on full HP and they would already be, a bit low from the fight before. I think it's a bit convenient that it's tucked in too far into the base. When you have a look at Grandview, it's a bit more exposed, and going for those health stations is a bit of a risky maneuver. In Promenade, it's a bit of a fail-safe tactic that it will always go and be successful. Doesn't really matter if somebody's chasing you or somebody is not. Now, moving on to the classes, the first one I really want to go and talk about is Vanguard. Vanguard still seems way too strong at the moment. I think this is mainly because Enforcer is a bit useless in his current meta. There really isn't a point to go and pick him. His assault rifle just completely lacks in comparison to the minigun, and the reason why is because the assault rifle's gone through a lot of changes indeed. Now the thing is when I played it over in the Boss Key Studios, they had aim down sights unlocked, so you could go and aim down sights with a weapon, and that meant it was really easy to kill people. The reason why is because people were moving way too slow. The movement speed was way too slow, and regeneration was way too low, so you were fighting people that are on half health most of the time, walking very slowly, and it was extremely easy to go and pick off people, and that was where Vanguard was a bit of a sub-tier pick, and you really wouldn't pick her, and you'd pick, Enforcer more. But now, because movement speed has increased and spraying and praying is more prevalent, Vanguard is a more powerful pick, because simply you can just go and ramp up, spray in a general direction, and by the time, Enforcers try to go and put a couple bullets into you, it's hard to go and track with the mouse. It's really hard to track because of the movement speed increase and all of that. He's missed all his shots. You're still firing. Of course, Vanguard's going to go and win that fight. any day of the week. I like the fact that he has more HP. I like the fact that Vanguard has less HP, but overall the assault rifle needs to be tweaked. I think putting back in the aim down sights would be good, but give it, a bit of a duration for getting into the sight. Instead of just right clicking and insta popping into sight, go and give it a bit of a, what's it called? A grace time before you can actually go and get proper accuracy with the aim down sights. Chuck that back onto Enforcer, and I think they'll be really, really good. Keep the damage, keep the ammo, and keep the fire rate. Check aim down sights, and I think that might be a really good fix. You have a look at his secondary weapon as well. That's strong. That is really, really good. And I think, as I said before, the aim down sights. Chuck the aim down sights and assault rifle. Keep the pistol exactly the same. I like the alt fire. It's a bit gimmicky, but it works in certain scenarios. Keep it there. And that should be a-okay as well. When it comes to Vanguard, I think what she really, really needs at the moment is maybe a slight HP decrease. Because I feel like when I'm playing Vanguard, I'm winning fights with about 15 to 20 HP left that I shouldn't have gone and won. How much the drop off? Maybe 20 to 30 HP, because at the moment she feels way too tanky for the amount of damage that she puts out. She's supposed to be more, I believe she's supposed to be more of a glass cannon type character. You have Enforcer, he has 400 HP, but he does a little bit less damage. Make Vanguard a little bit more exposed. Make her that the fact she has this really powerful minigun doesn't mean you can walk into 5 people and still go and win the fight. Now, I think Assassin is in a pretty good place. She wrecks people, but maybe, again, a touch less HP would be good. Again, I feel like I'm winning fights with a sliver of HP that I shouldn't be winning. Like, I think she's at 250 at the moment, maybe 225. Make it just a little bit more exposed, and then people would go and force the Titan pick a little bit more. Because at the moment, Titan is a little bit underutilized, simply because the movement speed increase made it much more difficult for him to go and hit people, because people are moving much faster. You've got to go and predict their movement a little bit more, and that really goes and puts off your flow a little bit. I personally didn't use Titan at all in this previous alpha weekend, simply because I believe he is one of the most difficult characters to go and use in the game at the moment, especially good utilization of his ult. His ult is in a good place, a really, really good place at the moment. Don't tweak that. But I think that tweaking the other characters will go and indirectly go and make Titan a better pick overall in the game. Now, what else did I really want to go and talk about? There isn't actually that much. There was some good stuff, but I think I need to see another mode before I can really go in and weigh in on the balancing, because for battery, it is very chaotic, and you can't really go and have extended fights. Fights are very, boom, everybody's dead, and you can't really go and tell who did the most damage or who really, really, really went and participated. I think in the new mode, which is Turf War, it would be a bit more skirmishy, so you really can go and figure out, okay, who's going to be going and being the supremely overpowered pick and just absolutely wrecking people, because fights in that mode would be more drawn out. In this mode, it's too fast to go and work out, oh shit, who's really, really OP at this point. On a completely different note, one thing that is really, really pissing me off with LawBreakers is the fact that you can't drop in and drop out of matches. When you go into a match, you are locked into that game. You are locked into that game for as long as the game is going. And if you leave the game, as in you just close LawBreakers, you are still locked into that game. You're still locked into it, as in, if your game crashes, then you can go and hop right back into the match. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to seriously go and leave, like you've got to go to school, or you've got to go and, do homework, or you've got to go and have dinner or whatever, and you leave the match, like by exiting the game, you're still in the game, and then your team's just going to be fighting a 4v5. It's pretty bad how they've gone and implemented this, and I don't think many people have gone and talked about it, but I think it's one of the more glaring issues in the alpha. Of course, it's going to be fixed in full release when they have, casual game mode and whatnot. But I think it's something that should be really, really worked on in the alpha, because I really just wanted to go and play Promenade, right? I just wanted to play Promenade in that alpha. But it seems like every second game, it was a grand view. And I'm pretty sure they did it deliberately so everybody just wouldn't be stacking into Promenade games. But I still think the fact that not having this drop in and drop out system in the alpha isn't very healthy, because I think a lot of people would want to go and test, let's say, you know, settings, graphic settings, test it, hop out, test it, hop out, hop in, hop out, and all that type of thing. And you really can't do this in this current stage. And I think that is not really the best thing when you really want to go and get people experimenting with the game, rather than simply trying to go and emulate it when the game is in full release. In full release and it's ranked matchmaking, lock people into the game, give them penalties if they leave. But we're in an alpha, we're testing. Don't lock people into matches. I think that is really bad. People will be okay fighting a 4v5 for, you know, 10 or 15 seconds. That's not too bad. But you're fighting a 4v5 because somebody, you know, went and control deleted and end the process and then went to desktop and forgot about the game, and then you're locked into a 4v5 for the rest of the match. I don't think that is very good in my opinion. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little commentary. If you did, make sure to go and give it a like rating. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, out.